Hello, everybody. This is Monica Paolini from Senza Fili, and today we're talking about energy efficiency in wireless, and not just in wireless, but specifically when you get to the indoor infrastructure. With me, I have Upendra Pingle, who is the SVP in Intelligent Cellular Networks at CommScope. And we're going to talk about sort of like a broader view of what energy efficiency means and how to achieve it. So Upendra, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thanks, Monica, for having me.
So before we get started, can you tell us who you are and what is your role at CommScope?
Okay. So I'm the general manager for CommScope's in-building cellular business. And in this business, we provide cellular connectivity for venues, campuses, enterprises, for both public networks as well as private networks. We have a sister business unit that does the same thing with Wi-Fi connectivity. It's Ruckus. And together with our copper and fiber portfolio, we basically provide all the venue, campus, and enterprise connectivity. On a personal side, I live here and work here in Texas. I'm originally from India, grew up in Mumbai in a small house with a small car, and I deeply care about conservation of natural resources. I believe that individuals and corporations have a responsibility and can do a lot for the environment.
Absolutely, but I think that for a lot of us, it starts with the personal commitment that goes beyond the hype that we're seeing right now. I mean, clearly now it's a hot topic, but for like somebody like you, saving power, I mean, being efficient was just not a choice, was not something cool to do, it was something necessary, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So now, also, let's talk about, what is it you're doing at CommScope? So clearly you're working, and what we're going to talk about today is your solutions that deliver energy efficiency, but energy efficiency starts at home at CommScope as well. So what is it you're doing there?
Okay. So connecting the world through our innovative network solutions is basically CommScope's contribution to the society. Corporate social responsibility is an area of focus for all of us at CommScope because we believe in making positive impact on people, our planet, in addition to the profits. Sustainability as part of that is a very important goal across the company. And this includes various measures that we have taken, such as reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, reductions in water withdrawal, reduction in electricity from non-renewable resources, and so on. Leveraging technology is a very key part of the strategy so we can benefit our customers as well as the whole world.
Absolutely. So that's sort of a big, in a way, it's a bigger picture. Now, let's get talking about energy efficiency specifically in wireless and specifically for in-building coverage. So it's about, is it power efficient and how should energy efficient and how should we think about it?
Power efficiency has been talked about for a long time, but in some cases, they are actually becoming a requirement in many places, actually. I can give an example in commercial real estate. You need to demonstrate ESG compliance, and technology is a great way to accomplish that. And that's exactly what we are doing already. I believe that the first step towards sustainability is to reduce the consumption. Then we can talk about leveraging renewable resources to power that, right? And this is exactly what we are doing with our in-building solutions, reducing the consumption. Our industry-leading digital DAS and small cell solutions have shown the reduction in real estate, as well as the reduction in energy consumption. And all the deployments that we have done, we can actually prove that through the real-life deployments. But it all starts with reduction in consumption. Before we do that, no other point in talking about anything else.
Absolutely, but there are different ways for us to reduce consumption, and you can start. It's not just having equipment that is more power energy efficient or that uses less power. It's a sort of a wider thing. So maybe you can let's just get started. There's two different lines. It's like you work on both small cells and DAS. Are they both energy efficient? Can you just at a high level? What's the proposition there?
Yeah, absolutely. So both our DAS and small cell solutions
We've been designing them with innovative technology with the main purpose in mind for sustainability. Let me start with DAS. CommScope is a leader in DAS market. And one thing that drives us that in that leadership position is technology innovation. Our industry-leading digital DAS, the brand name is Era, is a great example of how digital transformation can lead to reducing consumption while improving the throughput. The digital nature of the DAS inherently means that we need less equipment, less cabling, as we can drive several more features on software instead of hardware. In addition to this, we have technology that allows us to connect our digital DAS equipment directly to the OEM's baseband, thereby eliminating all the big and bulky power-hungry radios that normally sit in between. Through many deployments, we have proved that we can cut the real estate requirements by up to 90%. We can cut power and cooling consumption by like more than 50%. And the ability for building and venue owner to be able to use this extra space and cut OpEx is a big deal. It drives down their entire total cost of ownership. So if you think about this innovation that we came up with, in traditional analog DAS, you need the distributed antenna system on one side that gets powered with the radios in the middle, and those radios get connected to the baseband in the end. This technology that we have that just completely eliminates the mid picture. You don't need those radios, and all the space that is required, all the cooling and powering that is required to power those radios, just gone. So it basically cuts the middle step, and that's how we improve the power efficiency.
Absolutely. So there are different ways in which there is equipment. So you're going to need the equipment is going to use less power because it's smaller and all of that. But and also there is less requirement on the rack space.
Exactly right.
And then on the cooling as well. Now, how you go to an operator, and how do they measure that? How do they get a sense of how much am I going to save in this location? Because I'd imagine there is not the same for the number is not going to be the same for everybody.
That's right. So I'll give you a couple of examples, real life examples that we have demonstrated, and then I'll tell you how we have come up with a way to show that to the different customers. So in one example, at a very, very big NFL stadium, we deployed this Era digital DAS with only 5 equipment racks in the head-end location, versus traditionally, if it was an analog DAS, you would need like 30 or 40 racks. That's a 5,000 square feet saving, 5,000 square foot saving in the head-end space. That's a big deal. In the same location, the power consumption and cooling consumption went down by about 80%. So think about it, right? I mean, 5,000 square feet of space saving and 80% reduction in power and cooling. That's a big deal. Another example, we recently deployed where we had like a record 5G throughput. We deployed the same technology. And in this case, what we did is we actually had the head-end equipment sitting in a remote location, not at the stadium, in a remote location. And that same head-end was powering the stadium and few other buildings and enterprises around it. So no duplication of equipment, far less cable runs, pretty much slick solution, right? So to your question, how do we go and convince somebody that how much space they can save, how much electricity they can save? So what we did is we actually came up with a calculator. We actually came up with a power savings calculator and space savings calculator. All you do is you go in there, you kind of describe the venue, how many seats, how many carriers you're going to put in, how much space that you have, how much space we can save. And this calculator basically allows you to figure out, with that kind of a requirement on the 5G system, how much space and energy consumption you'll have compared to a traditional analog DAS. And pretty much in every case, and this is not just a theoretical calculator, like I said, we have done this in many places. Anybody can go and see how much space saving they can get and how much energy saving they can get, right? So it's in a way you can have the cake and eat it too. You can get bigger throughput, at the same time you can drive the consumption down.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a great thing. Do you have a sense of, you mentioned a stadium, but if you go to the other extreme where you might have lower concentration of traffic, how does the dynamic change there?
Right. So if you are not in a big venue or stadium, let's say you are in a small building, small enterprise, clearly the better option could be a small cell. You can still put a digital DAS in a building like that, but another option is small cell. And we have a very innovative solution
Our small cell is called one cell. Another technology innovation that you have, there are two things I would like to highlight in our one cell, small cell. One is it's a multi-operator solution. So inherently, just like DAS, you can put all the carriers, all the operators on the same radio, thereby eliminating all the duplication of equipment. In addition to that, we have a technology called smart reuse, which allows us to treat multiple radios or multiple cells in a coverage zone as one single cell. So this eliminates all the cross-border interference, which you know is the root behind all the inefficiency. The precious spectrum that the operators have bought has to be used very efficiently, right? It's a real estate that has to be used very efficiently. And with the concept of namesake one cell, we're basically able to eliminate all the cross-border interference and use the spectrum much more efficiently. So both this multi-operator capability and the smart reuse feature means less hardware, less space requirement, and less power consumption. And besides, this is deployed on our standard Cat6a cabling. So it's just like Wi-Fi, very fast, very easy to use as like a Wi-Fi. And actually, while I'm talking about Wi-Fi, let me bring up another example. Our Ruckus Wi-Fi solutions, very similar. We use innovative technology to drive the power consumption down while we are able to deliver more throughput, right? What we do in Ruckus Wi-Fi is we use a combination of beamforming, which is a radio-based technology, with our beam flex technology, which is based on antenna. And then we can maximize the throughput with our Ruckus Wi-Fi performance.
Absolutely. So basically what you're doing is, I would imagine that compared to the kind of access point that we have at home, the Ruckus access point is going to consume more power, but it's much more efficient because it carries more traffic. Is that?
It's going to cover the given space much more effectively by delivering more throughput. So you just need less hardware.
Absolutely, yes. So if I'm a building owner, and maybe I'm sort of like not small, not big, but kind of in the middle, then I can look at is that better, or is a combination of small cell and Wi-Fi better? And I guess that's where you come in and you can give advice in terms of what's the better solution, both for power efficiency and performance, because clearly power efficiency is not going to be the only concern that a building owner or an operator deploying that infrastructure has, right?
Yep, that's exactly right. So in any building, you either deploy a DAS or a small cell, depending on the use case, depending on size of the building, depending on the number of operators. What we have started doing now is actually take our ERA DAS and feed that with our one cell, small cell. So you basically get best of both worlds, right? So DAS and small cell will go either or, depending on the use case, depending on the application. But then in most of the cases, if not all of the cases, you do need Wi-Fi and cellular, right? If you go to any medium, large venue, you do want ability to do some things on Wi-Fi and some things on cellular. And we believe that we are the only company in the world who can actually deliver wireless connectivity on licensed, unlicensed, and shared spectrum, all in-house. I mean, we have DAS, small cell, Wi-Fi switching all in-house, including our copper and fiber. And I think that makes us more with an understanding of what can we do to deliver an innovative solution that provides more throughput, at the same time, take the energy consumption down. I think we are living in a world where on a daily basis, our data demand is going up. So we have to keep up with that. Technology has to keep up with the demands of data going up. The question is, can you take the energy consumption down while taking the data throughput up? And that's exactly what we're doing with our Wi-Fi and cellular solutions.
Yeah, and I guess that if you have Wi-Fi and cellular, small cell slash DAS together, you're going to have some operational improvement in terms of managing the network, which indirectly reduces your energy consumption in the sense that you're more efficient in your process. So it's not an equipment aspect, but it's a process.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So there is some sort of further reaching type of effect.
That's exactly right. To have all these solutions in-house gives us a deep understanding of what the requirements are, what the use cases are. in what cases you want to put in a public network, in what cases you want to put in a private network, in what cases that private network can be balanced between cellular and Wi-Fi. And because we have it all, we don't have to take any side. We can just go in and deploy what makes sense for the customer, because there is no right or wrong answer, right? It just depends on the use case, what the customer wants to do, and we are here to solve that problem.
So what is that your clients want to do? Because at the beginning you mentioned the fact that, you know, there is an increased interest from your clients, enterprises and service providers, operators. What is that you hear specifically?
Yeah. So I did talk about the use case. I talked about the technology. Let me talk a little bit different now. I mean, we have decades of experience in deploying, in building cellular solutions, right? Traditionally, all the solutions were looked upon as an upfront CapEx. But now customers are actually looking at this as a service model, right? So both CapEx and OpEx become important. So one thing is the go-to-market in terms of as a service, which we can do, obviously. The other thing is, how do we make sure that we actually take down the total cost of ownership? Because if people are thinking about these things as OpEx, as a service, they're obviously thinking about their long-term cost, their recurring cost, as opposed to just the upfront cost that they're going to pay. And with all the things that I talked about in terms of space savings, energy savings, all those factor in when you think about the total cost of ownership. So that's how we are able to actually drive it down. And that's a big deal for customers nowadays.
Absolutely. And I think that what that points my attention to is the fact that it's not just trying to meet a goal that it's sort of the ethical goal of you want to do better for the environment. And I guess that's actually really powerful, because you're not just doing it because it's good, which is a good reason to do it, but not necessarily as strong, but because this also allows you to be more cost effective. So power efficiency is not something you have to pay for, it's something that gives you a return on investment.
That is exactly right. Yep. You don't have to pick one versus another. You can actually improve the efficiency, improve the throughput while taking the cost down. And that's exactly what we are demonstrated. And back to your earlier discussion, you know, people have been talking about this for a long time. We are doing it. We are deploying it. We have many deployments that we have proved this.
Absolutely. And so in closing, what's next? What is the next opportunity here for reducing or increasing energy efficiency even more?
Now, a lot of industry trends are now talking about virtualization, leveraging AI and ML to drive the efficiency. So I think those are the trends that we are going to see more and more prevalent in CommScope. My view is, instead of saying that, oh, we are going to do more or less the same, I'm going to say we are going to do more and less. Instead of saying more or less, we are going to do more throughput and less consumption. Basically, we are going to be designing more efficient systems. So stay tuned.
Yeah, I guess it's just a new way to think about products and solutions than we had in the past.
Absolutely. I think back to our earlier conversation, technology is going to be the key, and technology is the answer. A lot of times, if you sit back and think differently, and if I can use the example of your previous sparring partners, I joined that. That was a very interesting conversation. I think the conversation about Open RAN, very great conversation, right? How do you drive technology to accomplish certain goals? And that has to be done in a different way than it has been done in past, right? Maybe we don't have all the answers right now, but future will bring those answers, and technology will bring those answers.
At least we have the questions. So that's a good starting point, isn't it?
That's right.
Well, Upendra, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us today.
Pleasure talking to you.
And for all of you in the audience who have listened to us, this is part of a report by Senza Fili on power efficiency in wireless RAN and beyond, and that is available on our website. Thank you so much for listening in, and Upendra, thanks for talking to us today.
Thank you.